5 years ago, I downloaded a bundle of 1,000 indie games for just $5. I downloaded 3 of them. Today, I'm revisiting this bundle and sharing a huge amount of great titles that you've never heard of. Let's not waste any time, my backlog is now thousands of games long. Let's start clearing it out. And if you want to find out how I got all these games for so cheap, stick around till the end. But first, let's start with the games I actually did play all those years ago. Pikuniku is an adorable indie platformer about a wacky cast of characters, a cute little monster who lives in a cave, and a company who uses an army of robots to monitor everyone 24/7 while stealing their resources with the ultimate goal of creating a master race of people called Sunshiners. I am not joking. If you like cute games with a dry, offbeat sense of humor, this game is perfect for you. It's filled to the brim with areas to explore, funny characters to interact with, and a host of mini-games scattered around for you to find. This game has charming visuals, silly music, El Bunko. So basically it has everything you could possibly ask for. I'm starting with Pikuniku because it's one of my favorite games of all time, and I think there's something here for anyone to enjoy. This game costs $19 Australian, which might be a bit pricey, but it's definitely worth it, especially if you get it on sale. Moving on to another cute game. Cats Are Liquid is a series of simple little platformers that are so similar that they're almost identical. I wasn't even sure which one I owned for a second. This may surprise you, but this is a game about a cat who resembles a particular state of matter. I'll give you 3 guesses. You press the down key to become liquid, which makes you short, fast, and you can eat cubes now. This genuinely has no purpose. This game does not have much to it, don't be fooled by the amount of levels. They're all incredibly simple, basically boiling down to, will this level be a straight line horizontally or vertically? Real examples, by the way. The narrating text even breaks the fourth wall to joke about it, and I'm like, dude, making jokes about your bad level design doesn't mean you don't have to make good levels. It still sucks. Just when I was about to quit the game out of boredom, I unlocked the gas button. Pressing the Z key now lets you float incredibly slowly upwards. Fantastic. Revolutionary. So now to interrupt the sections of holding down to go sideways, you might have to hold Z to go upwards. Game of the year. I can't really not recommend this game, it's less than $2, and if you get the Steam version, you can probably beat it fast enough to get a refund. Who knows, maybe this game gets better later on, because apparently people actually like Cats Are Liquid. I don't get it. Here's a game I do really like though. Mini Metro is a simple, I'm seeing a trend here, train management game where you connect different stations using train lines to deliver passengers to the correct station. More stations and more types of stations will spawn in over time, so you'll need to react fast and make changes to your setup to make sure your Mini Metro runs as smoothly as possible. Every week you unlock new lines to build, new trains to add to the lines, new carriages to add to the trains, and tunnels that let lines cross over water. The aim is to go as long as possible without your passengers running out of patience. If you get a high enough score, you unlock new maps with different layouts. Here's one based on Melbourne, the city I live in. This is inaccurate, because trying to navigate Melbourne transport in real life is somehow more stressful than this game. When I explain the gameplay loop at you, it may seem like a lot of information to take in, but the game doesn't explain anything to you per se. It lets you try things for yourself and learn on the fly, making mistakes on the regular, just like Melbourne public transport. It may not look like much, but Mini Metro is actually really fun. I would happily recommend this one. It's just a fun time. Even the title screen is a train station. That's so cute. I think the version I have is like an old demo, but the full version with much more content is $14.50 Australian on Steam. That might sound like a steep price on paper, or maybe I'm broke, but trust me, this game really becomes an addiction after a while. I used to play this all the time, and then I forgot I had it installed for 5 years. Which brings us to 2026. It's been a busy year so far. I started university, tried to drop out of university, moved in with 17 other people, moved back out soon after, and most importantly, I found the bundle again. So let's play some more games. A New Life is a beautifully presented visual novel about lesbians falling in love and growing as a couple and dying? Okay, for real, I played this with my partner thinking it would be cute, like, oh look, they're lesbians, they're just like us. Spoiler alert, one of them keeps dying. This is not just a game about love, this is a game about figuratively rewinding time to save your loved ones from COVID-19. I am not exaggerating. I was expecting a cute little romance story, and yeah, it is that, but it's also incredibly dark and sad at times. I was caught so off guard playing this for the first time when one of the main characters died because I said the wrong thing in a text message. And now the game ends several chapters early with a miserable ending. Sorry, I just didn't know the stakes were that high. I'm used to low-effort slot visual novels where they just download assets from online and the story is questionable. I had forgotten that sometimes games can be good. This game has so much love and care put into it in both the beautiful art style and the fantastic writing. The presentation is quite simple, I need to find better words to use, but that helps make the story feel more grounded and realistic. The characters actually talk like people and not like movie characters, which makes the real ending of the game hurt so much more. It's just a very nice and comfy Yuri game, with occasional death and despair. $4.50. Would recommend. I had relatively low expectations, but this game surpassed them in every way. I wish I could say the same about Listen, I was excited for Explorers, okay? It's made in Pico 8, a minimalistic game engine with a very limited color palette, and from what I've seen it also looks like hell to program in. So whenever a Pico 8 game is actually good, it's a pleasant surprise. Making games is always hard. Making games when you're programming with a microwave is a lot harder. Explorers is a simple... It's a bite-sized adventure game where you try to fill out your map to 100% by exploring the seas and flirting with people. You can collect gifts on the islands and give them to others to convince them to fill out your map. They'll even tell you which direction they came from, so you can be tactical and only give gifts to people who are useful to you. And that's literally the entire game. Okay, for a Pico 8 game, this is actually kind of ambitious, but I think that's almost to its detriment. They try to trick you into thinking the game is a lot bigger and in-depth than it actually is. Explorers was mildly interesting for 10 minutes, but then my ship got stranded in the middle of an island because of a bug and I rage quit. This game is $5 whole. You know how many better games I could get with that? 1,000, apparently. You'd honestly get more value out of the desktop pet and wallpapers that come included for some reason. Okay, I was joking, but that is a sick-ass wallpaper. Sadly, I wouldn't recommend Explorers, even for free. I see what they were going for, and props to them for using Pico 8, but it just feels unfinished and isn't very fun. Speaking of... Returning viewers may already know that I have a big love for the Star Fox series. I've made a video playing Exodiac, which is a great spiritual successor to the Star Fox series by the way, I totally recommend it. While I was moving house and all that, one of the videos I was working on was about Star Fox, that may or may not ever get finished. The only reason I watched a Mario Galaxy movie was because Fox McCloud was in it, and I almost cried tears of anguish when Nintendo announced that they remade Star Fox 64 for the 100th time. Basically, I like Star Fox, so when I saw Sky Rogue, I thought, it must be like Star Fox. I was stupid. As aircraft flying games go, this game has a control scheme that I personally have never seen, where the mouse steers you around and the keyboard lets you boost, brake, and roll. You see why I was thinking Star Fox? Now Exodiac had a similar control scheme where it was almost a point-and-click game using just the mouse, but since that's an on-rails shooter, it's a lot easier to wrap your head around. Sky Rogue's flight is in full 3D and can be a bit disorientating as a result. Admittedly, I didn't play these games for very long, so maybe the controls just have a steep learning curve, but trying to pilot this damn thing felt more annoying and clunky rather than an intentional challenge. Skill issue? Probably, but I feel like in a game like this, I shouldn't feel like I'm fighting my own ship more than everybody else's. Besides, the enemy ships are easily beaten by just rolling if they shoot at you and then left clicking once your crosshair lines up, so the combat didn't really grab my interest anyway. Again, it probably picks up later in the game, but it wasn't fun enough to begin with for me to want to stick around and find out. The core gameplay loop is just find the thing it tells you to shoot it, leave. That's it. It's very simple. Damn it, I said it again. I mean, it's not very deep. Well, there is an upgrade system which could be interesting, but I couldn't afford any of these fancy toys anyway, so I guess I'll never know. The game is described as a roguelite action flight simulator, which makes sense I suppose. There is flying, there's upgrades, and arguably there's a little action, but something about how they're all mixed together just didn't interest me. I hope I don't come off as harsh. I know it's probably just a small team, and game development is always difficult, but from my experience it played like a short proof of concept made for fun rather than a fully released game that cost $29. Again, I didn't play much, these are first impressions, so take what I say with a grain of salt. Looking at Steam reviews, there's definitely some people who love it, but from the small amount I played, it's not for me. But here's a game I thought I would enjoy. And All Would Cry Beware sounds like it would be right up my alley. A weird and ominous title, pixelated textures, it's a shooter. It all sounds awesome. Unfortunately, it's not as interesting as I'd hoped. The gunplay is slow and tedious, where you just hold down your left click and strafe slowly out of the way of enemies until they explode. Even the boss fights are like this, they all have one move that's easy to dodge, and you're basically just waiting for their health to drain. There's unlockable weapons, like a shotgun, but they don't do much to significantly change how you interact with enemies. The areas look kind of cool at a glance, but the complete lack of lighting or shadows really makes everything blend together, and it becomes hard to decipher different parts of the geometry. Navigating these levels is made worse by the music that is constantly looping all the time. It gets old fast and just gives me a headache after a while. The UI is weird too. I mean, can you see the health bar? Hang on, I have to move the border. There it is. Why is it so small? I have no idea. This game also has lore, accessible by reading little things that are inexplicably scattered across the map. I had fun reading them to begin with, but once the rest of the game started boring me, I just started skipping them. Once again, playing this without checking the price made me think it was a short little tech demo that wasn't fully released. I was once again wrong. $14.50. I'm sorry, but that is absurd. This game has pretty positive reviews on Steam, but even they agree the price is a bit high. The dev seems to really enjoy making similar retro-styled games to this, which is awesome, and I'm glad they're seeing success. But this game in particular could have used a little bit longer in the oven to be worth that price tag. Froggie Chat isn't really a game, but it still caught my eye. It's essentially a remake of PictoChat, that old DS messaging app from back in the day. You can text, draw stuff, and share it with others. I thought it was a little odd that there were no chat rooms with people in them. As it turns out, you need to be connected to the same Wi-Fi as someone to chat with them. So what's the point? I mean, maybe I can use this for art instead of Sprite? It is a very faithful and great looking remake, but if I can't use it to talk to anyone, it's kind of a moot point. Froggie Chat is a bit disappointing, but it only costs one whole US dollar, which is like $1.40 Australian, so it wouldn't be a huge loss of money. A game that definitely costs too much though is Can Androids Pray is a short visual novel about girls in mechs contemplating their life and their religious beliefs as they wait to explode. It's not quite what I expected. I downloaded this one without looking much at the itch page apparently. I thought there would be more of a game here, but I really don't mind visual novels, so I'm not fussed. This game was written by Zalavir from Strange Scaffold, who I know as the guy from that one Noodle video. The writing is fine, I didn't really get super attached to these characters though. That might just be because the game is only 10 minutes long. The one thing I was super invested in, spoilers by the way, is the twist that these two girls might not even be real, but instead be like virtual AI type things. Not the evil real life AI, like the cool AI from old movies. I made all my choices so I could figure out if they were real or not by agreeing to open the mechs right before they die so they can see if they're real people. But then the ending was super vague and kind of a cliffhanger anyway, so what was the point? This little thing looks like a body, so maybe that's meant to be the other girl, and the girl we play as says stuff that sounds like she's waking up or maybe meeting God, but it's hard to be 100% certain, which kind of annoyed me. This 10-minute game costs 10 Australian dollars, which is kind of crazy to me. This is not worth all that. As someone that basically got it for free, it's a cute little story, but it is not worth spending all that money. That's like a whole meal's worth if you're smart about it. If you want a cheaper game that has more bang for your buck, look no further than Death Drives a Bus is a super cute pixel art puzzle game where you play as Death, delivering souls either to heaven or heck. That's not me censoring it, that's the game's own words. You have a limited amount of fuel, so you have to choose your path wisely else you'll run out of moves. This is the deceptively simple I said it again game where it gets a lot harder as you progress. I played the first 10 levels out of 50 and even they were pretty tricky. Over time there's new obstacles to avoid, like crumbling roads you can only pass once. One thing I took way too long to notice was the spirit IDs that you see when you pick up a spirit, showing how good they were and their cause of death. I think these are randomly generated, but it's still a cute detail. This game is nothing crazy, but it's still super fun and the visuals are charming. The music is good too, even if I wish there were maybe a few more tracks. This game is $1.50 Australian on Steam, which I would say is a very fair price. If you like cute little puzzle games, give this one a shot. And last, but definitely not least, Celeste? Okay, wait a minute. I didn't even know this was in the bundle. I bought this separately years ago and it became one of my favorite games of all time. How did I not know it was in this bundle? I'm mad. You've heard of Celeste. It's good. It's one of the greatest video games ever made. If you haven't played it yet, go do that. Spend full price on it, it's worth every cent. I had a lot more games that I wanted to review for this video, but it's already getting pretty long, so I'll cut it off here. So far, the games have mostly been a mixed bag, with some bangers here and there. I had a lot of fun making this video, so if you want a part 2, let me know. It just goes to show that you don't need to spend your life savings to get a bunch of games. You just have to know where to look. Speaking of, if you want a bargain like I got way back when, I recommend checking itch.io regularly for charity bundles. Indie devs from across the world will share their games in these for the sake of charity, so you can get heaps of games for cheap, and it's for a good cause. If you're interested in more game reviews where I have a bit more to say about each game, check out my other videos, and I'll see you there.